Hello, everyone. This is video number 4, I guess. The last video of the Operation Aldershot lists. The final video in my Operation Aldershot series will be a video where I go over how the results were when they come out. So that is what we're doing today. We're going over 4 more lists. And I say day, but it's 10 o'clock in the evening here. It's pretty bright in Denmark this time of year. So, right, let's go and look at some lists. And I'll do that here. So we have a finish list here. 14 order dice, 1,050 points. As you may remember, the Operation Aldershot is a 1,050 points tournament. So that is made to make sure that something wacky sort of comes up, that people go over the lists again. This is a Finnish reinforced platoon, not a theater one. It has the regular second lieutenant with an extra infantryman, which is kind of good. I like this. It makes it more survivable and still their team. Now, the Finns have some of the best infantry in the game, and I am looking to see how they utilize these infantry choices. The first few choices are like pretty standard. They have 6-man groups. You will often see Finn players do this, that they have an equal number of men in their units, and that is because once the Finns reach their half strength, then they become super veteran. So you'll see that happen quite a lot, where people make sure that it happens before earlier rather than late, right? So and again, we're seeing rifles, Finnish rifles, very, very strong, because they have that +1 from ambush, and Panzerfausts, which is the best anti-tank weapon the Finns have access to. So veteran continuation war riflemen, 6 of those, 2 units, 2 Panzerfaust in each. Very good, very standard, by the way. That you see that quite a lot, these continuation war units. Then we have the good units, the very, very strong units. For me, the best unit of the game is the CC Recon unit. And that is because they have that Master of the Hunt rule, which means that they can advance and then go down in ambush, giving them that +1 to hit. So they are always really good, these units. They're very expensive, yes, but they are very, very strong. And they really they optimize the use of the Finnish National Special Rule. So 2 units of Sissy Recon with 6 men in each. You could have pushed this up to maybe 8-man units, but that would mean a lot more points. The final unit of the infantry is the Jakari Light Infantry Squad. I am not a fan of the Jakaris. I know people who are, but I am not personally a fan. And that is because they don't really benefit from the Finnish national special rules. They have submachine guns, and Panzerfaust, yes. So they're pretty good with submachine guns. Yes, they're very standard, very good, but they don't really benefit that much from the national special rule, and that is where I think that the Finns shine. So for me, I would rather have taken another Sissy Recon unit here rather than the light infantry. Sniper team, veteran, you always take one of these as Finns. Panzerschreck, too expensive. We've already talked about this, but with the Finns, you kind of had to. They don't really have that much anti-tank capability, as you may have already seen. They have Panzerfaust on some units, but not all. And so you kind of have to take something expensive in order to deal with enemy armor. A medium howitzer with spotter, regular, pretty good. I like it. And a Pastuna T28 tank. Now this is a medium tank. Well, it says it's a medium tank, but it's only an 8+. It has a pindle-mounted MG. It's unreliable and has a light howitzer. The Pastuna is quite good. It has a lot of machine guns. It has the light howitzer, so it can split fire every which way. It's really okay. But the unreliable bit, oh, that sucks so much, right? But that's what you deal with when you're playing Finns. If you want to have a tank, then that is what you have to deal with. 130 points. I think it's worth it. It's not a bad choice at all. You need a lieutenant to be close by when they start taking pins, and they will. Comsomolette, right, and there are 4 of them. 6-man transport each, which is also why we have those 6-man units everywhere here. I am not a huge fan of the Consomolettes. I know people who've tried it. I haven't seen it work yet. That may be down to the players. The Consomolette is 7+, but it's open topped and it's unreliable, so it will get a lot of pins. Yeah, I can see the point of doing this, but oh, those pins, they really suck, right? So, I'm really looking forward to hearing how this list does, whether it does well or whether it just tanks. Let's see. There's a lot of good choices here, and Finns is a very strong force, and 14 order dice is pretty good. And they do have the anti-tank capabilities. They might, but are very vulnerable to pins. So that was the list 13. Then we have list 14, which is a Polish list. Let's see how much it's all lancers or what. 13 order dice, 1 point left over, pretty good. Lieutenant, regular, yeah, you kind of have to do that, and you mount him on a horse. This is very good, especially if you can get him to go up to open-topped armored cars of the enemy, like move up on the side, give them a pin, and if they shoot at you, recce away. It's a very, very strong choice for a lieutenant here, and it makes him really survivable. The same can be said of the cavalry sections. Regular cavalry section, the first one, is a 10-man unit. That's very, very big, very, very expensive, and very, very dangerous. 10 cavalry with lances, that is 20 attacks in close combat. All of them have tough fighter. They will win almost any close combat, except maybe if they go into close combat against veteran fanatics or veteran fanatics in cover, and veteran Gurkhas in cover. Then they might lose, but otherwise they'll wipe units off the table. They are very vulnerable to pins though, and they're very vulnerable to shooting. And then one more unit of 8, again, very strong unit. And we have 2 further units, smaller, 7-man units here, again with lancers, all of them very strong. Again, I'm not a huge fan of dividing them into different sizes. I think you should go by, like, maybe have 1 unit that's big and the rest all have similar size, so that it's just maybe it's just my OCD, right? And then this player has bought an artillery observer, and the artillery observer is not worth buying for 100 points. If it was just 50 or 60 points, yes, I think it would be worth it. For 100, no, it's not. But it is very good, because what it will do is it will pin the enemy down, and then the cavalry can move up and then charge next turn. So with a decent artillery strike, you can pin down an army, and then you can just ride over it, basically, charge. An infantry section, 10 men, rifles, regulars. A nice idea, because you need something to be able to go into buildings, which cavalry can't do. So I like this. A medium mortar, inexperienced, very good. The marksman, oh, marksmen are so good. Anti-tank rifle team, yes, you need this, because you have very little anti-tank capabilities. Although I don't like it being inexperienced. For anti-tank rifle team, I think you need it to be regular, in order for it not to have that minus. The Bofors 40mm, I am not a huge fan of fixed autocannons per se, but they can be good. Maybe it's just because I'm not very good at using them myself. Tankette, oh, I like the Tankette. With the hull-mounted light automatic cannon, that is brilliant. That is good. That's really good. And it can move up and shoot light tanks, kill them in the side. Very, very strong. The 70p with the machine gun turrets, I'm not a huge fan of, simply because you have so much that is strong against infantry already in this list. I don't think you need an anti-infantry tank as well. So I would rather have taken something with an AT gun. Yeah. So that was a Polish list. We already saw Polish lists do very well at the WTC, and this list has the potential to do so in this tournament as well. That is my prediction, especially because there's no flamers that so there's like nothing that really prevents him from charging into enemy units. A flamer, defensive fire with a flamer or flamer on ambush, that would kill enemy cavalry units charging in, but there are no flamers here, so this is pretty good. Still lacking a bit of AT though. Oh, and what do I see here? Another Soviet Silo Heights list. Do we sense a theme here? That's the third Silo Heights. 15 order dice, 1,050 points. Junior lieutenant inexperienced with 2 extra men. I think you could even buy the third, making them a 4-man team. Why not? And then veteran squad, veteran. 4 veteran squads of 7 men, all of them with tough fighter and rifles. These are supposed to be skirmishes, right? The rifles, they say skirmisher to me. Why the tough fighter? Are you thinking of maybe charging in? Because you're not really geared up for close combat. Maybe it's to scare off enemy charges. And that can be okay. So put these in some cover so the enemy will have to move through terrain to get to you. So you have defensive obstacle. And then it's pretty good to have tough fighter on these units. They can just lie there and shoot with their rifles. And if it comes to the melee, then they can handle their own. The free rifle squad, we love it. The sniper team, veteran, yes, to win that sniper duel. An anti-tank rifle team, take dogs instead. They're way better. Tank hunter team, we like those though. They a 4-man submachine gun team, very nice. I would have given them a Panzerfaust, but I don't think that you can have Panzerfausts in the Silo selector. Maybe, can't remember now. Double mortars, inexperienced, of course. We've seen this again, time and time again, right, with the Silo Heights. Double inexperienced mortar. Damn, it's so cheap. 70 points for 2 mortars. Right, very, very good. Double light howitzer, inexperienced. 80 points for those 2. This is an absolute beast of a list, and it even has the double stewards. What it doesn't have really is something that is an offensive unit that can really push. So this list has problems with pushing its infantry units, but the tanks can push up and will delete enemies, and all of this indirect shooting will also be very, very strong. This is one of those top lists that I could see winning this tournament. It will struggle to deal with the heavy tanks. So that is a thing. And I don't think the anti-tank rifle team is enough. I would have taken dogs instead. So if it doesn't win, I would suggest that is maybe the reason why it doesn't win, because it will have to deal with 9+ tanks, and it can't. Right. Final list for Operation Aldershot, and it's a British one, close to my own heart. And what do we have? We have a Market Garden list. A Market Garden list. Perfect. 1,050 points, 16 order dice. Very, very good. Very strong. Veteran lieutenant. Yes, he's pretty survivable. I would have given him an extra man just because that helps. And then paratroopers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units pairs, and many of them are different, I can see. Right, so the first 2, we have 5 SMGs and 2 rifles in them. The rifles are there to be taken off as casualties. The SMGs are there to kill. Stubborn is not really needed as such, but it's nice to have. it's the veteran that will win for these units. These are very offensive units and they need some kind of transport, which I'm hoping that they have. There's a free forward observer, very good for 0 points. I wouldn't pay 100, but for 0 every time. And then we have 2 units with 4 rifles and an LMG, and 1 unit with 3 rifles and 2 SMGs. This last unit I don't get. I would have gotten them. I would have found the extra points for that LMG. Basically, I would have cut out the the SMG. I would have cut the LMGs from these units. I don't think LMGs are worth it, not even on veteran troops. Yes, they can be on the back line shooting out, but I'm not sure you need that extra range, not for 20 points. So there is that. I would have cut these 2 LMGs and used them for something else. Blood Curling Charge is a pretty good one. That means that you don't get, the enemy doesn't get defensive fire, but they still get to shoot you if they're on ambush though. So there is something to be said for this special rule. I myself prefer Vengeance because it ensures that you get rid of pins, but tastes and preferences, right? We have a medium mortar, veteran with spotter, not worth it. It's too expensive. And you have 2 of those. That's too many points. Those points is enough to buy a Darker Steward, which is way more usable than 2 mortars. So this is too many points, too many points. But I believe that you can only buy stuff veteran, or at least it's very thematic when you do. With the Market Garden, right? A veteran peer team, I can see that happening. It's pretty good with this many tanks in the lists. A veteran sniper, good for winning the sniper duel. A light howitzer veteran with a gun shield, that makes it very survivable. This I actually can see being a thing because it means that you only die on 6s. And with a spotter, it's very, very strong, this light artillery piece. So yeah, that's pretty good. And it has that 25-pounder AT shell, so it can actually double up as an AT gun as well. And then here comes what really makes this list. 3 armored cars, airborne recce jeeps. I love airborne recce jeeps. I bring them in most of my lists if I can. They are very, very strong. They have twin MMGs, front-facing MMGs, which means they have 10 shots each with recce. They're very fast, they're very small, they are very survivable, and they are very, very annoying for the enemy. So really, really good choices. And a veteran Jeep. I don't see why this should be veteran at all. Buy it regular if you want to, inexperienced if you can. It's mostly there to ferry the peer team. Because everything else can start on the table mostly. So I would have saved some points around here on some of the veterancy, and I would have saved some points on the light machine guns, maybe gotten some transport for the submachine gun units, a truck or something that could transport them up to the enemy. But I know that you are limited when you pick the Market Garden selector. So this is very thematic, and there are choices here that are very, very strong. I'm not sure it's going to win because it's, in my eyes, it's going to lack anti-tank options, simply because we see so many other tanks in the other lists. So that was list 16, boys. That is it. The next time I see you, that will be when I do the recap of the Operation Aldershot. So good luck to all the players. I hope I haven't been too rough with some of the lists. Again, I am just commenting on what I see and giving my perspective from being a competitive WTC player and locked in my own meta. I don't care that much about theme. If you do, then some of the lists are very thematic, and I like it. I like it when people care about that stuff. It's just not me. So my comments are always going to be competitive, and there's a lot of point for value in that when you just look at lists. although lists are definitely not all there is. There is player skill, that's way more important actually. So that was it, and thank you so much for this time. I'll see you when we have the results.